And it's this understanding again that we have the opportunity to speak to young person on an adult to adult level, even if they're 10 years old. When we look at transactional analysis, which is a tool which is used to describe or reflect on how we interact with people in our lives, young people tend to be spoken to as the child, regardless of what they've seen in their life, right? And if you think about what that means, is that they tend to not be heard or to be undervalued, or just think about all the negatives, right? They're a bit more playful. As adults and as parents, we think we know more. We have lower expectations of children than what we have for ourselves. But when you approach the mentoring relationship and you talk to that young person as they are an adult, they become more accountable, they rise to the occasion, and they will experience an adult in a way that other adults aren't treating them. Remembering also that some children, when it comes to their parents, they're parenting their parent. And oftentimes with other adults, that isn't even recognized. So sometimes, I don't know if you've seen this yourself, or experienced this, you have some children that when you engage with them, or they're in an environment where there's things happening, they always want to know what's happening next. Has this been done properly? Has that been done? They also see what's missing. These are young people within their own spaces have to step up and be adult or parent in their households, because something's usually missing and that could cause a risk. So they kind of step into control and planning mode. But when these typical these young people that I'm speaking to speak to other adults, the other adults don't acknowledge the fact that they're maturer than they look. Right? Now, we all have heard of adultification, and culturally, there's issues there, but culturally, that's just our thing. We have to just do adultification in a very, very balanced way, where we're not abusing children or they're not missing out on opportunities. But the reality is, with us, a lot of our young people are being adult-like in the home in terms of their domestic responsibilities, not anything else. Let me get that clear. But so when they go out, they're still spoken to as a child. So when you approach these young people from an adult to adult perspective, they sit up and they rise to attention because they're like, this is different. They're actually valuing me and trusting that I know what I want for myself and I know how I can get there. So here's another diagram to kind of explain the relationship style that we as mentors have with young people in comparison to other adults. When their parents, their caregivers, adults that are making decisions in their lives, or teachers are speaking to these young people, there's a lot of uncertainty there because it's all up to the adults as to what's going to be happening next or what the young person will even be doing. When they're in our space and we're having adult to adult conversations, all of these qualities come out. They accept the conversations that you're having. When I say the conversations, you're not having adult content conversations. It's the relationship style. So they totally accept it. They rise to the occasion and they become accountable. You have a sense of loyalty there. They will so much respect you. They really, really value, and there'll be integrity there as well. Their yes will be yes and their no's will be no's. And their don't knows will be, I ain't got a clue. You know, they're not going to fake it, because there's a lot of young people out there who will just tell you what they think you want to hear. They will trust you and you'll see progression being made. It takes about 6 to 12 months to consolidate a mentoring relationship. But I did say earlier as well that research shows that mentoring relationships under 6 months can be harmful to some young people. So it's always ideal to do 6 to 12 months. And we say this here as well, just in case you have to fight for mentoring to be more than 6 months. Yeah. Mentoring relationships can be more than 12 months, but you have to change your focus after the 12 months. You would have to change the design of the mentoring relationships after the 12 months. Otherwise, the boundaries will reduce and there'll be blurred lines. So it's almost like you have to renew the mentoring relationship all over again. You also have to do that so that even if you have to match the mentee with a new person, so that and I'm talking about young people today, they may become really dependent on you. You don't want them to be dependent on you, right? You want them to explore the world and to have great relationships with other adults as well. So it might be worth changing the mentor even. If you push too much and you push too much with the wrong person, they're not coming back. And a great sign for if your mentoring sessions aren't going well is mentee not turning up. So you can troubleshoot. As soon as that happens, just troubleshoot, find out what's going wrong, find out what the young person would prefer. It says here that mentees may feel rejected at the end of the mentoring relationship, but also you might too as well. So please take some time to consider how you feel, and this is where reflective practice comes in as well. After a while, you might become a genius at being detached, but it takes a little while to get there. So give yourself some time after each mentoring relationship is finished.
Elaine, doesn't this also go back to what you've said from the beginning, which is, be open and honest from the beginning, set out the parameters so everything's very clear, nurture them along, but at the same time ensure that they understand there is a beginning, a middle and an end. And that way, basically what you're doing is you're making absolutely clear there is a pathway, we're at this distance, but when we get to that point, this is where we hope that you've got the strength and the resilience to move on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the tools, just to add to what you said. Absolutely.